Why is leadership important? And I have that on the board, but you probably can't see it. So, and my vision is bad, but it says nothing happens without leadership. Okay. So when we look at that quote from one of my favorite people is Dr. Miles Monroe. And he said this quote. He says, nothing happens without leadership. Nothing changes without leadership. Nothing develops without leadership. Nothing improves without leadership. Nothing is corrected without leadership. Nothing advances without leadership. Nothing succeeds without leadership. We are all directly or indirectly being led. Okay? So what I want y'all to do is I want y'all to understand that leadership is a core soft skill that you have to develop not only in your college years, but for the rest of your life. Okay? Because you're either being led or you're leading. And I want you to lead the conversations on what's happening. I want you to be leaders and continue to be leaders in this community. I love some of the things Evan was telling me about of how the campus is servant. You said servant leadership. You're about serving. You're leading through service. Some of the best leaders, it's not the only leadership style, but it's the leadership style that I attest to is servant leadership because it builds a connection. If you ever look at how churches work sometimes, step outside of whatever your religious organization is, they actually are run by a volunteer army. Right? A volunteer army. They're not getting paid. We have over 1,000 members at our church, right? We have about 700 people serving, right? So in the midst of 700 people around that number serving, very few of them getting paid. And some of them actually work full-time jobs and then come and then spend intellectual time and thought into help building a ministry or someone else's vision. So the mindset is when you're going through, what do you want to have? Do you rather have a corporate leadership or a servant leadership? Corporate leadership, you're paying for the dollar, but you're not giving. Sometimes you have a shut-off valve. Once I'm leaving here, I'm not even thinking about here when y'all going, right? And then you have people like they're doing the servant leadership model in the community, and then they're still, after 8 hours, they're putting 8 hours and more of themselves into that and making that vision flourish, and sometimes working a lot smoother than our organizational leadership works. Why is that? I want you to think about that. Why is that? Okay. You see, the central thing is when you understand how leadership is very important because nothing happens without you leading, right? Right. And then one of my other favorite persons is John Maxwell, and he says everything rises and falls off of leadership. Your Black Student Union, everything is going to rise and everything is going to fall based off of the leader and the leaders that are connected to this leadership. So we have to look at leadership as a primary thing. So are you born to be a leader or are leaders developed? Because some of us don't see ourselves. What do you say? Leaders are developed. You have some people that have natural charisma. You have some people that have natural leadership skills. Believe it or not, I'm an introvert, but introverts can be leaders too, right? They're like, I can't believe you're an introvert. Why? Because when you see me, I'm on a 10, right? I'm on a 10, but you don't realize how much energy I'm giving out just to be here. So when the event's over and everything's going and y'all go to your next party, they're like, where'd Chris go? He's recharging, right? But I understand that I can be a leader too. So if you're an introvert, you're shy, everybody in the room, whether you're introvert or extrovert, whether you're melancholy or you're pragmatic or whether you're choleric, whatever the old symbols were when you talk about your personality type, you all are leaders. And you all have the ability to lead. So that's the first thing. It all should not be on Nema, right? Nema, am I saying your name? Okay, I want to put respect on your name. I want to make sure that you look at Nema and say, well, Nema's got it taken care of, right? That's not the leadership model that we want to have. We want to have where we all have a piece of the lead. Now, the great thing about Nema is in charge now, so she gets to be the visionary. She's the visionary leader. But you all have leaders to support the vision. And that's what we're going to talk about today is why vision is important.